you know, I'm exempt. We can't come in then. I said, well, what about him? So I'm here at the front, at the door, and as far as that tripod is, there's a fella sitting at a table with no mask on. Oh, well, you see, love, just put your mask on, come over to the table, sit down and take it off. I said, have you got any idea how ridiculous Oh, well, love, you know, that's what you've got to do. I said, well, forget it, we're not. So we go over the Raven. So you walk in there and the music's blasting, you can't hear yourself think. You haven't got to wear a mask, but you've got to write down your name and your email. So I wrote down Rosa Parks. Email rosa.parks@iamafreeperson.com. Before everyone says,
well, somebody get your print the back of the bus.
So I'm out of here. So we go down to the Marine, fella at the door. Where's your mask? I don't wear a mask, I'm exempt. I'm under the Equality Act 2010.
Wear a mask, Halloween's 2 weeks away.
Well, you can't come in. I said, are you telling me that you're breaking the law? I said, because the Equality Act, unlike the Coronavirus Act, is an actual law that has been debated and passed in Parliament. Are you telling me I can't come in and use your goods and services when I've got an underlying health condition, I've got a disability? Oh, well, love, you know, it's not my fault, it's the Blues' fault, is it? He said, I'm only doing what we were told to do. I said, well, it didn't work for the Nazis in the European down here, you personally will be liable for a fine from £900 to £9,000 for refusing a woman with an underlying health condition your goods and services.
Yes.
But you still can't come in, we'll get fined by the police. At the same time, there's about 7 police vans going up and down. South Road, a little fishing port just outside of Crosby. You know, nowhere major, not the crime capital of the world, not full of people who are the mafia, wanting to cause problems. Anyway, I go back to my husband's, what he says, you're nothing, you're nobody. Why are you even trying? And I'm going to say right now, I'm trying because I am a nothing and I am a nobody, and it's going to take millions and billions of nothings and nobodies to get this. So I just want to say one thing. I was in Trafalgar Square on the 19th of September, on the 26th of September. And I was appalled at what I saw with the police. Now, I work a lot with the police, and I respect the police. They do a damn difficult job. And they're under the cosh like us all. In my job, I've worked all my life in the social care. I've been a nurse, an RGN for 16 years, then I trained as a social worker. I worked as a social worker together with my training over 20 years this year. And then I went last year to train as a mental health, as a therapist. So I've worked in health and social care all my life. And then in the last 18 months I've worked in mental health, and what I see is a tsunami of anxiety and depression. With all of this that's going on every day, all day. I hear people who are terrified, they think they're going to die, they won't sit in their own gardens, they won't go for a drive on their own because they're vulnerable, and they are vulnerable. The people with physical health conditions, and they are vulnerable. And people with physical, and I'm not saying that coronavirus doesn't exist, people will all have the different views. I believe it's a flu strain, a severe flu strain. I believe it's there. But why now? Why this virus? And okay, people will believe whatever they want to believe. I believe there's an agenda. Because these things do not happen. There's no such thing as coincidence. And it doesn't happen by coincidence. And it's been long planned. So everyone can, you want to be cycle, bearing coat. I believe, I do believe it because I've seen it unfold before my eyes. It's coming to fruition now. Okay? So some of the wilder stuff people choose to believe, not to believe. but things don't happen by accident. Why does Matt Hancock every other word out of his mouth is vaccine? He's just parroting Bill Gates, vaccine, 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 if you don't get a vaccine yet. So what I want to know is if you work for the local authority and you pass a contract to a builder who you've got some financial investment in, that's fraud. You will be come up for discipline and you lose your job. So why is the chief government scientific officer to the government got £600,000 worth of shares in vaccines? He gets up with Chris Hodgson and gives a presentation about how vaccines are the answer and everyone's got to be vaccinated, and yet there's not one member of the press there to ask a difficult question. Absolutely. So what you can kiss goodbye to, folks, is any autonomy over your own body. It starts with masks and it ends with vaccines. Okay? And I'll tell you now, I get emails every day telling me I've got to have my vaccine. I've had an email telling me it's my moral duty to have a vaccine, my moral responsibility to protect the services. Now let me tell you this. I've just told you I'm 56, I've worked all my life in health and social care, okay? I've stayed within my lane, I've kept my head down, I've been a good little citizen. I've gone to work, I've paid my taxes, I've followed policies and procedures, and I've never put my head above the parapet. I've been a good little citizen. So, I've had a couple of speed awareness courses, you know, for doing 33 and 30. That's probably the most out of the law, most unlaw abiding by the meanest of the speed awareness courses. Is someone, is the head of my organisation, seriously questioning my moral responsibility? My morals being questioned because I don't want to have a flu jab? That's what's happening. I don't want to have the flu jab. I've never had the flu jab. And the last time I had the flu was 2012. And I was off my feet for 5 days. I felt ill for 5 days. But I have a thing called an immune system. And that kicked into place. And I was better again. By some sort of miracle, I was better again. So I'm going to go now because I know there's other speakers. And like a previous lovely man, I could go on forever, so I won't. I'll just be a drone in your ear then. But what I do want to say is I met a lovely man today called Anthony. He's over there, and his mum Irene. Over there, Anthony, give us a wave. Okay. So, this morning, I signed a petition. I only saw it this morning, so I'm ashamed to say. And it's repealed the Coronavirus Act. We've all got to get on and sign this petition. It's at 90,000 signatures, 90,000 plus. It needs to be 100,000 to be debated in Parliament. So the reason I went to Trafalgar Square was the rally in advance of the review of the Coronavirus Act. Because this Coronavirus Act gives our government unlimited powers to do whatever they want to do, whatever they see fit. Well, it's a precursor to totalitarianism. So, I didn't know myself, and I'm supposed to read the law, that this man told me today, Anthony and his mum, that under the Coronavirus Act, anyone with a disability is going to be declined treatment if you go into hospital. Now, is there another way, did we see that somewhere before, where people who are vulnerable, elderly, seem to be a problem, like Jews or black people or disabled people wouldn't get, you know, wasn't there somewhere in past history, not much more than a blink away, where there were problems there. So people are not going to get treatment if they're over a certain age, they have a disability. So thank you for letting me know, Anthony. I'm ashamed to say that I didn't already know it, but I was pleased to meet you today. Okay. So I'm going to go now. What I am going to say is this is only the beginning, guys. I didn't want to speak or put my head up because I don't want to lose my job either. We've all got to earn an income and we've all got to live our lives. But if losing my job is what needs to be done, then so be it. Because I've got 4 granddaughters.